Welcome to Wellbeing Wednesdays with Harbinder Narula. Today, my guest is Dr. Deeksha Sharma, who's a postdoc at Cornell University, USA, working on emotions. She is an IIT Roorkee alumni with a PhD in emotional intelligence. Diksha has been 4 times TEDx speaker advocating mental well-being. She has a podcast which is very successful among students for students' well-being, and at present she's working on a game simulation on emotional learning. So, welcome Diksha to BW Wellbeing World, and as a part of Wellbeing Wednesdays. Diksha, you have been talking a lot about emotional intelligence. What is this concept of EI, and why is it more relevant in the modern corporate world today?
Thank you so much, Harbinder, for inviting me on this amazing dynamic platform where so many people can hear out and learn from to understand about health and well-being. And having said that, your first question about what exactly is EI, emotional intelligence, I'll put it in very simple words. And it is simply the ability of a person to manage and understand emotions of oneself and of others. Now, it may have not many things. It looks very difficult, the word emotional intelligence, like, oh, this is some scientific word, but it's not. It's in everybody. You can look at like grandmoms, our moms, even our spouses, like how they manage emotions. They understand themselves. They try to understand others. And this is simply in every human being. So it is not something very sciencey where you don't understand anything. It's simply in everybody where we can just manage our emotions. So if you take this emotional intelligence and split into two emotions, we know the meaning of emotions, right? Intelligence is the ability of solving any problem. Now, when we talk about emotional intelligence, it is the ability of so-called problems related to all the issues around emotions, which can be solved, or the tendency of learning and understanding to solve the problems relating to emotions. That's it. It's all about emotional intelligence.
And how is it relevant to the corporate world of today?
Oh, I think it is absolutely juxtaposing with all the issues which are happening in the corporate world. And it should be, there were not many studies where it was being said that, this should be given as a course, not in the college, but at the school. Because how you build your emotions and how you manage them, it impacts you in the longer run when you are like an adult working in corporate world, and you have to take so many decisions. And having said that, there are a lot many studies, a few of mine as well, where we have tried to corroborate the fact that how the ability of managing your emotions, which is EI, is impacting your self-efficacies, your productivity at the corporate world or at work spaces. Just not only that, but if you talk about the negotiations, you talk about the decision-making power, everything has one or the other connect to the emotional intelligence. So yes, it has a vital role in the corporate setup.
So Diksha, what happens is, let me first talk about women today. I mean, that's something which is a burning issue in the corporate world. Working women, women are said to be mentally stronger when compared to men, right? Now, at times, their need for mental well-being may be left out in complex situations. What are the major challenges that women are facing in managing their emotional intelligence? And what should be done at that time when they face this problem?
Thank you so much, Harbinder, for taking out this point and focusing on that, how women are supposed to be more emotionally, how should I say, aware of what's happening around. And not only that, there are many studies which suggest that how the emotional intelligence of a woman is higher than a man. And even in my study, where my sample size was in India and Dubai, at that time we found that the EI score, now on an average, the median scores of women, specifically female, as a sex, as a not the gender, but the sex, their EI score was way more higher than men. But having said that, there are many outliers in that also. But there are many physiological, psychological, and sociological factors because of which women are more aware of their own emotions. It's not that men cannot be, but it's the trait in females. And having said that, there are many other challenges which are going around specifically in the corporate setup, and we can take those challenges in a very organized way later on. But I will just give a gist of it. And they are like how to manage their personal and professional life. And with that, their physical life as well. So the physical health and emotional health, they are connected. But in the case of women, what happens is that because of the reproductive system, which is one of the most sensitive part and which gets impacted the most, if you're stressed out, the first impact is on your reproductive system. And your hormone will get, up and down very easily in the case of women. So that's why it's very important to manage those emotions. So there are many, so it's like, it's a, how should I say it? It's a closed loop. This is a physical health. This is emotional health. Emotion is depending on physical and physical is depending on emotion. And this is like a chakra, like going on and on. So you have to create a balance. And specifically in women, their body is designed so that they have to have this balance more accurately. And so, for example, the sleep, for example, what they're eating, for example, how and why we say that, smoking and drinking is impacting women more. So there is no bias around this, or they have to have a baby. This is the reason we are saying this. No, it's not because of that. But there are many other factors. And in today's busy world, as we can see, women has to the women have to go out, and she has to just not manage her house, but the office. Then she has to come back and she has to create a balance between the two, and it is very difficult. So there have been studies, and just not the studies, but the kind of feedback now I get of the corporate woman who is working from 9 to 5 or working from home or in the office. The issues around their body and the kind of problems they're facing is way more higher. For example, cervical cancer. So for example, their their gut issues, they're way more higher, even if they are vegetarians. So what's happening? We need to understand. So the whole system, as I already said, emotional and physical, they are connected. This is very important and imperative to understand that why there is a need specifically in women to understand that, because she is going through a lot and she doesn't express that. And there's a lot of responsibility she wants to handle. It's not that she doesn't want to handle. She wants to do it all. And she's doing amazing. Today, any woman, you take any woman from any metro or retro city, she wants to do a lot. She's reading, she's writing, she's taking care of her baby, or maybe she doesn't have a baby. She's just coming home, cooking properly, making sure everything is fine. So that kind of balance is not easy in this kind of era. So I will take an example here on how today's woman is having more challenge than the women in the past. So if I talk about my mom, she have been working from the very beginning. Like she was an engineer, and she just started her job. But for her, for example, like just to travel from home to office or office to home, it didn't take much time. There was no traffic. There was no stress of the traffic. There was not much pollution. And she had a very balanced life. She was happy doing the job. She was happy taking care of us. And in that piece, I never felt that she's stressed about it. She might be, but it was never on her face that, she needs help. But now if I see my friends, okay, working 9 to 5, half of the time is going in the, traveling to office or coming back from office. They're totally stressed out. The food is different. So even if they want to do the things perfectly, they need help, and they need a lot of awareness that there's a need to change your day-to-day cycle, which is not supposed to be the way it was like maybe 20 years back for a woman. So yes, physical and emotional health, as they are connected, it's very important for women of this era to understand that how emotional intelligence is so important for them, so they can have a balanced life for themselves. Once they are at peace, once they are healthy, only then they can, be the most efficient in the office or in the home. And then only, again, it's a circle. When they're happy about it, they'll be at peace, they'll work efficiently. And then when they see that, oh, I can do things the way I want to do it at home and office, and then they'll feel happier. And so this is like something which builds up, builds up, builds up. So for that, it's important, yes, for women to understand where their emotions are going, what they are feeling, why they're feeling that, how they gone through a trauma, or it is something physiological which they are going through. So for that, they need to constantly observe their body and mind.
Got it. So Deeksha, women across the globe have become more ambitious. They are working towards breaking the glass ceiling, and and women tend to multitask, and something that you also mentioned in your earlier conversation. And you also mentioned that they are working from 9 to 5, but they are willingly wanting to come back and contribute towards the homemaking part of their life. Do culture and geographical parameters define the difficulty level of a woman to handle emotional health issues? One, do you think that across the world, women face difficulties, or women face more difficulties than men? Is it common across the world, or is it just India? And second is, in your opinion, is it more difficult in certain parts of the world than others?
Beautiful question, Harbinder. I think this is a very vital question which we need to cater. First of all, I'll say they have not become ambitious, but they have become aware that what is their capacity and what they can do, using this brain. And I will come back to your question, but if I go back in 1857, we had Madam C.J. Walker, the first millionaire in the United States. Her vision was to get the new hair products, healthier hair products for Black women and colored women. And her vision was to become the richest, so as nobody can stop her and nobody can stop her to feel free. So the freedom was the thing she was looking for. And I think that thing that, this information in our DNA, irrespective of any geographical location, is here, that we want to feel free. We want to feel respected, that we can do whatever we want to do. And more than ambition, it is more about that we are aware that what is our capacity and what we can do, and what is right and what is not right. That is the most important thing. Earlier, people were not aware, women were not aware this is right or this is wrong. They were just doing it, and they were doing it religiously. So now the thing is, they know this is right and this is wrong. And now I'm going to work on the right thing religiously. So, and I'll say, yes, there is absolutely a bias of a fairer sex being the males. And females are going through a lot. And even I have felt the same, like the education, your degree doesn't matter to you, and it doesn't matter in which country you are. You will always going to find people who are so biased and who think that, women don't have the kind of brain physiologically, maybe, and even they don't know anything about, they don't have any medical knowledge, but they think, we are better. And many of them creates problems and issues for women who are, bright and shining and coming out of their cocoon. So yes, it is a worldwide problem, but I think we are blessed enough. I feel I'm blessed enough that I can talk to you about it, Harbinder. There are women right now in many countries, from Afghanistan to Syria, and even in India, maybe in some village, who have no voice. So we have the voice, but we need somebody to listen to us. Right? This is what Meghan Markle said recently. You don't need to give a voice to a woman. We have it. The thing we are looking for is just listen to us. So I feel blessed that as a woman, like I have a family where people can listen to me. So, I have built my personality with a lot of strength and respect because I was given that kind of feedback, that when I'm saying something, people are listening to me. And this happens just not for male, but like, not, I'm so sorry, just not for female, but also for males. This is a normal human identity construction, which starts from the very beginning when you are a child. So that is, I think, what is missing all around the world. And there are places like, if you talk about the Wall Street, so it is said to be the world of men. And then recently in 2018, a black woman, a very young black woman, came on the floor and she became a thing. And because she broke all the records, and then she said that I can be part of this. People say that, oh, women are not supposed to be part of finance or fintech or anything related to stock market. They'll never understand that. Who says that? Similarly, you have issues. Female cannot code. They're not good coders. I mean, how are you deciding, and who are you to decide this? That this is that a woman is not a good coder, or she is not a good gamer. So recently, I was hiring people for game development, which I'm building, and I found like out of 10, 8 game developers are male. Only 2 females are there who are actually working on platforms like Unity or Unreal. And I'm amazed. It's not that they cannot work on it, but socially it has been designed so that, oh, you're a girl. Are you playing a game? How can you code a game? So all these things, even if for some women it doesn't matter, but somewhere down the line it gives a mark. So if Harbinder, you come to me and you say, oh, you know about emotional intelligence, good. And then you say, how much you must have learned? You need to have a lot of balance as a woman, I'm pretty sure another guy who must be working on AI must know better than you. Like, and then I may look like with a poker face, I know better, look at my published papers and books. But then somewhere inside, my little child has been like broken. Because somewhere I have been told that you're not good enough. So neither my resume, no my accolades is actually showing that it's just because I'm a woman, I have been treated in a one particular biased way. So yes, it's an worldwide issue, but the intensity of this drama is different in different countries. And so I'll take an example, like just in India, okay? So if you take an example, India, if you go to some retro cities, it's very open, लड़की है उसको बाहर हम पढ़ने जाने नहीं देंगे. That is a big problem. So her challenges of even to study what she wants to study is so difficult because it's beginning from their home. The father is saying, I'm not going to let her out of this particular city. She cannot go to some bigger city because I'm scared for her. And other than that, let her do something smaller and I will get her married. Okay. So already you are deciding her fate. And then she might be like, maybe, okay, I'm okay with this, because she has to survive. Even if she has seen things on the TV, but she is not able to relate herself to that thing. This is one thing. This is very direct. Then I have seen a very pseudo-liberalism in feminism. And that is people saying, oh, we respect women a lot. We respect you a lot. And then indirectly, they would be saying or doing something which is actually not at all in reverence of women's identity. And that hits you so hard. I have met people who act like, we are feminists and we are so happy to meet you. You're such a strong woman. But after a while, they will say, a woman of like after her age, how can she start a company? I don't think so. Or, women are too emotional, to have a company. They cannot build a company or they cannot be the CEO. And at that point, I had no examples. But now, the first example I give is of Nika. I'm like, you need to understand, she's an Indian woman, okay, and of a respected age. If she wanted, she would have not done what she did. I mean, she had everything in her life. Such a good degree and such a good job, totally respected person in the society. But she did something at the age which is said to be that you cannot do something because you have passed that age. She actually disapprove of that. And above that, she's a woman. And now when I give the same example, I don't react like, how can you say this? Like a woman cannot do like that. But I just give an example, look at Nika, that is one example we need to understand. So it's the way indirect pseudo hit comes, we as a woman have started giving a pseudo back. So definitely from places to places, the way women is being respected is different. If you talk about retro cities or some places where actually there is like a lot of constraint in social norms, yes, it is direct. But if you talk about United States or you talk about somewhere in Dubai or maybe in India, of course, it's not going to be direct. But the things are still in the mind. So even now, it's not easy for a woman. I'm so sorry. It's being said that, oh, this is a new world for a woman. Oh, everything is so good for a woman. She can do whatever she wants. But I'm so sorry. That's not the way we women see it, because it's not happening that way. So everything is happening under the table, but it's happening.
I get it. Healthcare prioritization is another aspect which has become secondary aspect, primary being family and work for women. And what are the long-term implications for women because of this?
So if I reframe the question, it'll be more like that: how a woman should be able to take care of their well-being with all the challenges which are happening around.
That is true. And also, what we've seen, I mean, what I understand, because when I'm speaking to a lot of people, the message that I get is that women in the rural areas, there's a financial impact when it comes to healthcare. So it is always the bread earner, which is the man, who gets the priority for healthcare, and for women's healthcare is a secondary thing. What could be the implication of this phenomena on the overall health of our population?
Yeah, nice question, Harbinder. I think you have designed the question so beautifully, because there's a lot of impact, just not in the home, but the family, but the society, and then the whole country. So if the woman of the house is aware, educated, healthy, then the whole family is healthy. And it's not about the kind of role she has taken. I'm not getting into that, oh, a woman is supposed to cook or that. No. If a woman is healthy with their mind, soul, and body, then she can take care of the kids, the spouses, maybe the parents in a very beautiful way. So the responsibility of the spouse, children, and parents is to make sure that she is healthy from mind and soul and body. So it has a direct impact, Harbinder. I think you must be knowing about it. This is like an stated thing that, that there is a direct impact. And you must have seen, like, if you go to villages and you see that women is not taking care of themselves, or if the family is not taking care of their health, and in any sense, in any form, from vaccines to medicines, how it impacts the whole family. And once the family is impacted, then that particular society is impacted, or that community is impacted. From community, you can see the impact on the whole district, and from district, it goes to the whole city. From the city, it goes to the state, and from state to the whole country. So if you had that sweet spot, Harbinder, definitely we need to go back to that woman who is taking care of the home, even if she's working or if she's not working, because she is the powerhouse of the home. You like it or not, she is. She has that power of, multi-handling things. And that's why she's able to run so many things. So it is the responsibility of the other members of the house to make sure that she's actually healthy.
Deeksha, we've been talking about working women, we've been talking about multitasking. Healthcare is not just the only thing that where she goes down in priority. Working alongside managing a family and work pressures may cause an emotional drainage for a woman. And working mothers do get discriminated against the general workforce because of the expectations on time that they are able to devote at work, and especially in our country where uh, for a large part of our working uh, force, working long hours is something which is expected. And what do you suggest should women do to ensure their emotional well being when they are under pressure, which is at home, at work, with a child?
Okay, now that's one of the most tough situation a human being can go through. Corporate life, personal life, and a baby. And I think I like kudos to all the women who are doing it beautifully. And trust me, they are doing it beautifully, even if they think they're not good enough. That is the problem with women. Like they think, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm not giving time to my baby. Oh, I'm not able to do this at home or at my work. But they're doing so beautifully. I think I have like a huge respect to all those women, and they inspire every other woman to be like them, to do so much in one single life. So, and at that particular time frame. So that's beautiful. And yes, at that time, the challenges are very high. So, for example, if they have just delivered the baby, so there is post traumatic depressions and issues. She has to go through that, how her body is feeling. Is she accepting her body or not? Those are very big issues for herself. And then to take care of the baby. And then another issue is like an imposter syndrome, maybe at their office. Even if like now I'm really thankful to most of the corporate houses that they have given some slack to women in the time of their uh, delivery time or when they're pregnant, or not only that, but they're also giving some time, some days off for women who are on their periods. But this is all understated, because in the end the manager still wants her to work, and that is one social thing, and that is not changing. So emotionally they feel very drenched, and because of that it becomes very difficult. So first of all, they have to be aware that they're enough, they're doing already enough, and they need to feel stronger. But it's not easy, Harbinder. There's always a need of family support. But there are many cases where we find single women, single mothers, or the cases where the spouse is not supporting that much, or the family is not supporting that much. As you mentioned somewhere that you at corporate houses you're expected to work late, wherein a woman, she wants to work but she cannot because she has to run back home. Or maybe if she, and there are many other reasons for that, just not the home, maybe she doesn't feel safe. You don't know. So how many actual feedbacks we're getting from women, that are they feeling safe at workplace? Are they ready to work at 1 o'clock and just feel safe and go out by themselves? How much responsibility the corporate house is taking to make sure that she goes safely from the office to her home? And is she convinced about it? That's another thing. So there are many things which need to be taken into point, that what exactly a woman is feeling emotionally and what kind of challenges actually she is going through. So having said that, if you look at families, so I recently I just met one of the founder, and she told me that her sister, she's a doctor, and her husband is a doctor. So both get night duties, but their parents-in-law says, you go, it's all right, but why should our daughter-in-law should go? So then she feels that I'm a doctor, I'm supposed to go and do the duty. So these are very small challenges. And some are big challenges, from safety to the social norms, which are happening at corporate places, which are happening at, the home, maybe the health of the baby. That is the problem. Like she takes everything on herself. So even if the baby is not well, she feels it's her fault that she was not able to give the time to the baby. But it was supposed to happen, even if you were at home, the same thing would have happened with the kid. But the woman is taking so much of stress. So at that time, what she can do is like she need to talk to people, maybe to women who are going through the same kind of phase, or maybe to someone she trusts, maybe some friends, or maybe to some therapists, or maybe to moms even, or maybe to their spouses. And if that's not working, then she have to raise her voice, because as a human, I mean, it's not easy to do this much for so long. and she needs support. So for emotions, it's, we always say that when you're working on your emotions, that you have to manage this and that, but you always, as human beings, we need constant corroborations. That if I say, if you tell me that, Deeksha, you were good at this point, then I'll be like, okay, next time I will work better. But if you come again and said, you were not good at it, you were not good at it. So even if I'm trying my best, psychologically, I'll drain myself out. So as humans, we are like always a social animal. We need those social acknowledgements. So for women, it's very important. So it's just not the women has to be educated. It's about the family and the corporate houses also get educated on what exactly is women needing for her well-being and for health.
Got it. Now, Deeksha, another aspect of human side that I'm seeing, and this is not just for women but for the generation, is that people have different priorities than the generation earlier. For example, women and men both are not choosing to get married at a certain age. They're delaying their marriage because of their professional ambitions, etc. Or they do not want to have kids. Or for that matter, their response mechanism to how they deal with anxiety, because they have not seen that kind of hard work that has been put in as the earlier generation, etc. How is there a difference among baby boomers, millennials, and the Gen Z that we are looking at today in how they handle their well-being and specifically mental well-being?
Okay. Thank you so much, Harbinder, for this question again. And I think there's a lot of comparative analysis if you look at different generations. So if you talk about baby boomers, if you talk about millennials or Generation X, Z, why we call them different generation is because of the physio-sociological factors and the way they have looked at the world, or the epigenetics, I should say, that how the environment has impacted the way they are living their life. So if you talk about baby boomers, that time, physiologically, psychologically, and sociologically, the the identity frame and the pride came from, if you have a good family, if you have kutumb, how should I say it? And you have this family, and that's why you feel you are being respected in the society because you have kids and you're a married man or a married woman. And that was the way the society was being taken for. And I respect that. But that was baby boomers generation. Then, and at that time, women had that kind of, conditioning of actually managing their problems and hurdles, and they were okay with that. Even the challenges were there at that point of time, but they were different. And I totally respect that, because even if I was of that generation, I would have done the same, because that was the aim as a collective intelligence to work together on. Then if you talk about millennials, that was a time, it was a phase when there was a lot of change was coming. People were becoming aware that, it's just not about house. You have to go out, you have to learn, you have to evolve as an individual, but as family also. So there were a lot of challenges in that time, and marriages were still there. But I think with the coming time, you talk about Generation Z, or if you talk about some particular countries, where it's being said in the coming time, the marriage will get obsolete. Whether it's good or bad, no comments on that. But if you talk about Japan, they're like, number of people getting married are so less. And psychologically, I don't think so. It is right for human being, but it's still there, and they are living a good life. So no comments on that. But I think it is just not one factor which decides that, that the humans are supposed to live in a marriage contract, or they have to live in a family ecosystem, or they have to live individually. It is something which comes with time and how our society is evolving. Now, if you see today's generation, it's very different from what even we were. So the young kids, maybe of like who are in their teen, in the coming time, the kind of psychology they will have to manage their emotions, to be themselves, will be so different from what we have. They're not dependent on anything. They are totally individualistic people. So the thing is, Harbinder, is not that they are not emotional. They are super emotional. There's so much thing they have to say and think about, but they can give a lot of mix. Whether they actually want to end up in marriage, whether they want to be single. So the problem is not that. The problem is to stay ethical, to stay healthy, and to make sure that you're not harming the society as a whole. That is very important for the social intelligence of humankind. So having said that, yes, there is a lot of change in ability of managing the emotions from the baby boomers to Gen Z, but the challenges are also different. So choice paralysis, I was working on this particular article called choice paralysis. This was not even a factor to be considered in the boomers generation. But now there are so many choices that you get like, what should I choose? Where should I go? So if you take like long time back, like grandmom and granddad, at that time, like law was something everybody was doing because everybody has to be a lawyer, everybody has to be respected and everything. Then a phase came the IS and government services, even it's there now. But now Gen Z, they have so many options and they get paralyzed that, I can earn from this, I can earn from that, I can earn from that. But the problem is, are they able to channelize themselves? Are they able to make sure they're not harming themselves? So that is the most important thing, I think, which has to be taken into consideration. But I still feel the coming generation is more evolved. They have seen more challenges. And I totally trust them for whatever they are going through, because their challenges and their issues are far more difficult than what we had, Harvinder. So I still believe and I still trust the coming generation on that. But yes, emotional traumas have increased, mental health issues have increased, and to manage them, it has become a problem. So we have to find ways that how can we help this new generation so they can feel more calmer and at peace, because they are the future, right? So these are the challenges, I agree, but there will be some solution for that as well.
Well, that's a very beautiful thing that you brought out, that, if a man is mentally strong, mentally at calm, at peace, mentally uh, well, then he, in any case, will be able to create that mental strength for his spouse or the woman at home. Whether it be a spouse or a parent, mother, or a child, which is a daughter. So it all begins with that. But tell me one thing, what comes to my mind is that uh, as a man, if I look at people around me, uh, they're not very expressive. They're less expressive when I compare it to a woman, and which is why they are not able to voice out what they may be going through. And on the contrary, you also have women who feel subjected to a lot which is going around them, while what men may be going through is not really brought out in the open. you know and like you mentioned, there is a stereotype of how a man should behave, what is his stereotyped role towards his family. uh, how important is it for a human being to express themselves, for anyone to even observe and take notice of the challenge that they may be going through?
Yeah, I think this is a very sensitive question. I think as human beings, we are being given this gift of emotions, and there's a reason behind that in terms of our evolution. But expressing emotion becomes important because we became one of the species who have got the gift of communicating. So other animals communicate in another way, like using their hands or growling or creating a lot of destruction. But men was given a way to communicate what he or she is feeling. And having said that, if I specifically talk about men, I want to ask all the men around the world, how many of them have got friends, actual friends, where they can just go and just blab out everything without drinking? Like, can they just go and just sit, bro? I have a problem. Like, with those gloomy eyes, can they just sit and talk about it? It's not that they don't have good friends. I think men are good friends than women, because there is no jealousy. There's nothing. Even if there's something is going wrong, they'll just come back like this. So that is one of the another study which is being done, like how collective intelligence work with men. So they have such a beautiful relationship, like that brother relationship with people which are not even related with blood. But why they are not able to express even to them? Again, it is because everything is so biased. So expressing becomes an issue. So if I see for women, when she expresses, you're too emotional. Why you such a drama? This is one extreme. The other extreme is men. He will say nothing. He'll just smile. Maybe he'll go to his room from any age group, from 20 to maybe 50. He'll go to the room, lock the door, and he may cry out. But he will never go out and say anything to his mom, his spouse, or maybe his, son. He will not do that unless, he feels that everything is out of control or he's being caught crying. So it's important to make expressing anything to be normal. For women, don't tell a woman that she's too emotional or dramatic. Please listen to her, because that's the way she's expressing. And then supporting men, that please express, I'm here for you. Maybe once, twice, thrice, he will not, but give the space, that safe space to men. I know men are supposed to create safe space for you, but then you have to create a safe space for that person as well. He's a human being. Just create some safe space that you can be whatever you want to be in front of me. And this is my request to all, at least to spouses and partners, to just make sure about it. Because I know, like, if I have counseled 100 cases of, relationships, I've found in 70% cases, men are not being listened to. They're not being heard. Arey bhai, ek baar sun to what they're saying. Once you understand that from where they are coming, you might understand their perspective as well. And because women are very beautifully designed, if they're empathetic, they will understand. It's just that you have to open the door and understand that they also need some time for, being weak. So I think it's very strong that if you feel weak. So this is my take for all the men.
That's a very beautiful thing that you brought out, that, everyone needs their time to feel weak, so that they're able to express their emotions, or at least vent out their emotions, And I think, this is a conversation I'm going to have with you another time, because it's not just the men and women, it's about a human race. And somewhere down the line, even the kids are getting ignored. I mean, we know about, everybody's talking about ADHD, everybody's talking about the children are hyper. But this, I don't know, I mean, technically, if this is some kind of an anxiety, depression, or whatever it is, but do we even consider or even believe that a child may be going through a depression? So we'll talk about this at some time. But tell me one thing, one of the things that come into my mind when I listen to you, when you're talking about the challenges that men face in mental well-being, do you think that the stigma of mental health still exists, despite all conversations around mental health that have been happening for the last several years? And this is irrespective of the gender. What is your thought on this?
So Harbinder, I'm happy things are changing, but the pace with which they are changing is slower than what's happening at present. So COVID became a catalyst in this whole process of actually speeding up the issues around mental well-being. And as we can see now, if you see what used to be how people were approaching therapists in 2019 and now is entirely different. So many people are going out for therapy because they know there's no other way out. There is no other way out. People of age of 50 a man who has been taking care of the business for so long is now impacted like anything. He feels numb. He's not able to do anything. And we are not able to understand the reason. A man who was able to take care of the house, suddenly what happened the 2 years that he's feeling numb. He don't know. He's not focused. He has no vision to look into. His business is doomed. He's dooming. What happened? Similarly, for children, there's so many places where we find so much, like just not the ADHD, but so many things which are happening. So, of course, there is a change. And the change is because people like you who are coming out and coming up with these kind of awareness sessions. And this was already there, but people used to say, pagal hai. If somebody's saying, I'm going to a therapist, like, pagal hai. But now, I think there's another side to it. Like young Generation Z, they say, I'm going to a therapist. So it has become a fad also. It's in fashion also. But we have to find a middle path, It's not a taboo. It's not a fad. It's a real deal thing. If you are feeling something in your heart, you have to go to a cardiologist. Similarly, if you're feeling something which you think is not controllable, you have to go and meet a psychologist or a therapist, whichever is best for you. You have to take a medical assistance, and definitely it will go out. So it has a science behind that, and we need to respect that. So some sessions like you, Harbinder, that might help people around and create some awareness. We don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of the science, what's happening in amygdala or limbic system, which part of the brain is getting activated. No, it's not about that. In very subtle, humble language, we have to understand people and convey in a very respected way. It's okay if you're feeling uncomfortable with your thoughts. It's okay if you're feeling depressed. Don't run away from it. Don't feel ashamed of it. It's just like you have high BP or a diabetes. It's similar to that, and it can be solved. So yes, there is a change, but there's a long path ahead. There's a long, long journey we have to go for. So yeah.
So Deeksha, this is a very powerful message that, it's okay to have your emotions take over. And, it's okay to feel the anxiety, but take care of it so that, you do not lead yourself to issues like depression. And it's important to live well apart from living healthy. So, with that, I must thank you for your time to share your experience, to share your knowledge. And it's how beautifully you brought out your experiences, that have crafted your thought process and helped you in your research, looking at your, how your mom responded to various situations, etc. I thank you so much for taking out time to be with us on BW Wellbeing World.
Thank you, Harbinder. I am so blessed and obliged for all the time which you have given. Your initiative is amazing. And I'm proud of my country that they are doing this at one go. And I just want to contribute to my country from where I am, that from whatever capacity I can do that. So thank you, Harbinder, for that.
Thank you. Thank you.